Wish I had one of those,
Hi, Tracy.
like a shawl, like
Yes.
like my grandmother used to wear because she was always cold. It just wraps around.
That's okay. We just need. That's good.
I have hand holders for deer hunting, like the little hot hands. 9:29. Okay, I have 9:30. If we can convene the meeting with roll call, please.
Here.
Here. Here, we do have a quorum. If you would rise for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Is there any agenda deletions or corrections? I do have one correction on item number 3 regarding the public hearing. The correct address is 15018. Again, that's 15018 Scotch Ridge Road. Is there any other changes or deletions? Seeing none, first item on our agenda is the consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are enacted by one motion. Claims, we have a claims figure of $788,271.95. Minutes to approve, August 16, 2022 board meeting, August 23, 2022 work session, August 23, 2022 special meeting. C, approve payroll removal, Hannah Parks, iSmile Coordinator, Health Services, effective August 26, 2022. D, approve payroll removal, Jacob Baird, Mechanic Secondary Roads, effective September 2, 2022. E, approve payroll correction, Matthew McCudden, Jailer, Sheriff's Department, retroactive July 1, 2022. F, approve step increase, Matthew Drish, Equipment Operator 2, Secondary Roads, effective September 3, 2022. G, approve step increase, Anthony Kaufman, Motor Grader 2, Secondary Roads, effective September 15, 2022. H, approve new hire, Elena Peterson, Collection Assistant, Attorney's Office, effective September 9, 2022. I, approve Class C liquor license for Something Borrowed. And J, approve abatement of mobile home taxes pursuant to Iowa Code Chapter 435.25 on VIN number 2T300628KAB in the amount of $158 plus all accrued interest. Do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion from the board? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. 2 and 3 are public hearings. The first one starts at 9:35. I've got 9:32. So we will move to number 4, which is consider a business associate agreement between CICS and Warren County with possible action. Good morning.
Morning. The business associate agreement allows Warren County to share info with CICS and remain HIPAA compliant. This is in regard to any substance abuse information, claims, and processing fees. So if the commitment is dual, we can pay through the mental health fund rather than the county paying.
Any questions from the board?
No.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you for your time.
I'll make a motion to approve the business associate agreement between CICS and Warren County.
Second.
Any discussion from the board? Seeing none, roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. Motion carries. Number 5 is consider approval of 28E agreement for ambulance and emergency transport services between Warren County Sheriff's Office and the City of Indianola with possible action. Morning, Joe. We're jumping ahead a little bit, but
Thank you, Board, for hearing this today. The City of Indianola approached us in regards to medical care provided to the inmates of the jail. They've traditionally provided any ambulance service that we've needed or any sort of assessment that we've needed, and they would like to put it in writing, and they've presented us with a 2080 agreement. I've went over it with the County Attorney's Office and Assistant County Bowman. Feels comfortable with it, and it lays out terms of what's expected of them, responsibilities of the county, and then rates for different levels of care that would be provided to the inmate. And just to clear up, in case there's any confusion, this doesn't obligate the sheriff to use Indianola transport. If, say, we have something out in Martinsdale or Greenfield Plaza that would be in another jurisdiction where we have an arrestee or a detainee that needs medical care, that does not cover this. This is strictly someone who is remanded to the custody of the jail. That's what this is for. So I'd ask the board to maybe consider and approve, or if there's any changes, obviously we can reapproach the city on things that we feel concerned about. So
thank you, Sheriff. And for historical context, was there, I know that Indianola hasn't been providing these services while we've had inmates elsewhere, but prior to that, when Warren County had inmates in the county, was Indianola generally providing the services and
Yeah.
billing for them?
yes, sir. And to my understanding, I don't believe there's ever anything in writing, and that's where I think they're wanting to put responsibilities and everything in writing now.
Good.
Do y'all have a copy of, I think you have a copy of the agenda?
Yep.
Okay.
I do. And thank you. One last question. Did you or the county attorney or assistant county attorney determine that the pricing was standard compared to other counties that are utilizing municipal services for transport?
The pricing that I've compared it to is actually a little more fair than what has been provided in the past. It actually even beats the Medicare and Medicaid rates from what I could find in figures that I've seen.
Sounds good. Thank you, Joe. Any other questions for the board or from the board?
No questions here.
Yep, none.
I'll make a motion to approve the 28E agreement between Warren County and Indianola for ambulance and emergency transport services.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, now I got 9:37, so we can jump back to number 2, public hearing regarding proposed amendments to Chapter 34, Regulation of Industrial Wastewater and Commercial Wastewater, Warren County Code of Ordinances. I'll make a motion to go into public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
DeCook.
Aye, we are in public hearing now. Morning, Don.
Good morning. Paul Ebert, who is an attorney with the WRA, contacted the county about updates that need to be made to Chapter 34, which is the regulation of industrial wastewater and commercial wastewater. This is all, this ordinance deals solely with the WRA and this area north of, in northern Warren County that feeds into the WRA's system. There were there were many changes. They did raise the fees a little bit, but nothing out of the ordinary. These fees are if you violate the code as it exists. I know this is a really long chapter. I'm sorry I had to give it to you, but you have it. Does anybody have any questions about it?
I have no questions.
If Darren or Crystal would like to read the chapter in its entirety, that would be acceptable. Or not. I'm good with it. Okay.
You want to ask the public?
Yeah, we are in a public meeting. Is there anyone from the public, either in the room or online, who would like to make a comment or ask questions regarding Chapter 34 and the changes that are being proposed to it? Last call. Seeing none, I'll make a motion to end our public hearing.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
DeCook?
Aye.
I would ask that the board consider approving it and waiving the second and third reading.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call vote, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
DeCook?
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Oh, we have to be close to 9:40. I got 9:39. Next up on our agenda is number 3. That is a public hearing regarding review of final plat for Ridgewood Valley submitted by Dennis and Patricia Van Ryswick, 15018 Scotch Ridge Road, Carlisle, Iowa, 50047. It's now 9:40, and I'll make a motion to go into public hearing.
So moved. Or did you make the motion?
Right.
Sorry, second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
DeCook?
Aye, we are in public hearing. Good morning.
Good morning. Dennis and Patricia Van Ryswick of 15018 Scotch Ridge Road, Carlisle, Iowa, 50047 submitted a final plat of Ridgewood Valley. The Warren County Zoning Commission held a public hearing for the final plat for Ridgewood Valley on August 15th, 2022. All items for the final plat checklist have been completed. No concerns from the public or the commission at this time. Motion was made by Laxton to recommend approval of Ridgewood Valley final plat to the Board of Supervisors. A roll call was taken. Laxton, aye. Ominous, aye. Rooney, aye.
Excellent.
Questions?
I have no questions.
I don't either. Is there anyone from, Crystal, did you have any questions? Okay. Is there anyone from the public or online that would like to speak on this matter? Megan, is there anyone online? Okay. Okay.
Make a motion to go out of public hearing.
Do you wish
Second.
to, oh, sorry,
Nope,
excuse
that's
me.
okay.
Do you wish to waive your second and third reading on this in the motion?
Possibly. We just haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make a motion to go out of public hearing.
And a second
Second.
from McIntyre. Roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
DeCook?
Aye. Public hearing is ended. Okay, now we can make a motion on the final plat.
I'll make a motion. Let me pull up my. Okay. Make a motion of the final plat for Ridgewood Valley submitted by Dennis and Patricia Van Ryswick of 15018 Scotch Ridge Road in Carlisle to approve
And waive,
and waive the second and third reading. Thank you, Darren.
certainly. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from the board? I do have one quick comment because it'll come up shortly for this board or next year regarding the land use plan. When developments happen, it's going to, and we did have a work session on this a week or two back, but development happening on paved roads is going to be preferable for this county. It just, for a variety of reasons, I think that's part of the reason why this plat's moving forward, because there are paving requirements, and I don't see the board deviating from that. In this instance, that's, if you're gonna grow, where you grow matters.
Yep.
Because when you grow on gravel, it does create for a number of other issues and complications for our engineer, our staff, and others, as well as the neighbors. And so I'm pleased that this one moved forward. So we've got a motion, we have a second, and a roll call vote, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
DeCook?
Aye. Motion carries. Congratulations. Number 6 today is consider Warren County Conservation's trail access policy with possible action. Morning, Mark.
So you've all received a copy of the guidelines that we've created. The Conservation Board is trying to be proactive in creating some sort of guidelines that we can follow. We're asking the Board of Supervisors to approve these guidelines as policy going forward.
And Mark, would you kindly address the public a little bit? I mean, I think that it's a page and a half, and the board has it and has reviewed it, but just for the public's benefit, can you hit some of the high notes? Or
Okay,
highlights of it?
basically what we're trying to do is we've got a lot of pressures on our bike trails from development. And when developments happen, they often want to cross the bike trails with streets. And we feel that obviously bicycle traffic and vehicle traffic just don't mix. So, and part of that is the liability that the county assumes, because I guarantee you the first question Donna's gonna ask me if somebody gets hit is, was your stop sign up at your crossing? And we can go out and we can check at 8 o'clock in the morning and make sure signage is up, but by 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you don't know that sign's gonna be there. So we're not trying to be punitive. I mean, we want to work with development because I think conservation is a big part of development in this county, because we're the arm of the government agency that creates things for people to do in the county and make people want to live here.
Yeah.
So basically, we feel like a fee should be established for creating street crossings or any trail access.
And it looks to me like the easement amount, proposed easement, is case-by-case basis, but a fee of $5,000, and then a per-home fee with a minimum of
25.
$25. Do I have that wrong?
How did you get to the $5,000 number?
Just the board discussions. Didn't want to create a number that was so high. I mean, I really don't think these numbers are going to keep development from happening. It's just something to make people stop and think and realize that when you do encroach and impede on the trail, bikers hate at-grade crossings. It really takes away from the purpose of the trail to have a safe environment for bikers to ride so they're not out on the edge of the highway.
Yep.
Part of it was I called around to several other counties and talked to them about whether they charge easement fees. Got a feel for what other counties are doing.
How many other counties are charging an easement fee for crossing
Well,
a trail?
some of them have an established policy that they charge for every easement, but some of them, they go case by case.
Okay.
If a city asks for a street crossing, they do not charge, they allow it to happen. But for individual development,
Okay.
they do.
Okay.
Is it 15 family units or 25?
15,
Okay.
and that's just a number that we decided on. I mean, we don't want to create street crossings for one house on the other side of a trail. It has to be something more substantial.
Okay.
But there are counties that just simply say, no, we don't allow, Lynn County's a big county, a lot of trails. I was at ISAC this last week, and they just simply, they fight every crossing they can.
Wow.
In my mind, it's sort of a balancing act, which is why I like, a minimum number of on-pavement developments for tax base, a number that's not punitive, but still generates something and has some pause and has folks think about it a little bit. But I kind of find it as a compromise, which probably, in my world, compromise means you sometimes tick off both sides of an issue, but I actually like the proposal. I think you did a good job, Mark. And folks can be creative too if they really need to not impede the bike path. There's other fixes. They're just expensive fixes.
Yeah, well, we would push a tunnel for trail passage.
Yep.
But that would be expensive. Some places, the lay of the land just doesn't allow it.
Mm-hmm. Understood. Okay. Any other questions or discussions on the proposal regarding easements on our trails? Okay. Seeing none, do we have a motion on Warren County Conservation's trail access policy?
All right. I'll make a motion to approve the Warren County Conservation Trail Access Policy.
And I'll second it. Is there any discussion from the board?
Do we need to waive anything? No.
Roll call vote, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Opposed.
Cook?
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Mark. Number 7 is consider Warren County Satellite Storage Facility contract with Vanderpool Construction with possible action. Good morning, David.
Morning.
Morning, David.
So I believe you saw this coming down the pipeline. We've had a couple discussions regarding it. But what you have before you today is the earthwork numbers at the satellite shop facility. So to just kind of jump through what we've done previously on it, the first two projects out here is the building itself. So round numbers, 120,000 was the building, and then 64,000 for the concrete pad and some minimal site work around it. And then today before you, rounded is around 50,000, and this is covered under the ARPA funding application, and we put 300,000 total in. So in this particular instance for this price, we think it's a very, very good price for the earthwork. We're looking around 5,200 cubic yards of rough grading, or the sort of the clay that's out there, and then around 2,400 cubic yards to strip the site. So we think it's a very good price, a good local contractor. So we'd recommend moving forward with Vanderpool to do the earthwork aspect. As far as items remaining, is just a small septic system for a bathroom for 1 to 2 workers to use out there. But I think that would be the last cost our office would want to submit for this project. The rest of the costs might be just water hookup or electrical, and without knowing a set time frame and trying to close projects out, I think it'd behoove us just to close it out after the septic install, if that works for the board.
And so you're going to be well under the ARPA allowance, weren't you?
I think so, yeah. It was 120, 64, and 50, so. Yeah,
Plus
about
the
254.
Plus the septic and a few other things, it should be a little under. Okay. Quick question for our county attorney. any bid requirements on that or no?
It's under the threshold.
Okay. That's what I thought. I just wanted to get it out there.
Yeah, and I didn't want to go into detail on the pricing, but it's a very good price.
Okay. And what's currently being, how many acres is that there? Just south
It's-
of Norwalk? 3 or 5 or something?
It's about 5 acres. It's a triangular piece. The road around it needed ditched really bad. So as part of the earthwork, we can grab that whole back slope and spread it on site and save a lot of money that way. And so sort of kill the 2 birds with 1 stone. We get better ditches on the roads, and we find a lot of material to spread on site and make a building pad.
I'm guessing that those roads will improve a little bit from it. They've been rough in the past.
Yeah, those are ones we've put rock columns down in them because they had frost boil issues, and it was a good road to try that on because it lacked ditches, which was why it probably had the frost boil issues to begin with. But owning the actual ground will allow us to actually slope the ditches back a good 30 or 40 feet onto the property and make them flow correctly.
Wonderful. Thanks.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion on the Vanderpool construction contract?
Yes. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the Warren County Satellite Storage Facility contract with Vanderpool Construction Incorporated.
Second. Discussion from the board? Or questions for our engineer? What's the proposed date for final completion?
When this gets approved, they can start at any time. So we'd like them to start as soon as possible with the earthwork to try and get the building up and potentially pour the floor before the winter. That's our hope.
Excellent. Okay. Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
DeCook?
Aye. Motion carries. Next up is number 8, consider speed limit change on Cleveland Street between 170th Avenue and 107th Avenue with possible action.
So we are proposing lowering the speed limit on this stretch of road about 0.8 of a mile to 40 miles per hour. This is purely a density justification. We've had multiple driveway applications out there where we have certain offset requirements. However, when they meet those offset requirements and we're 300, 500 foot spacing back to back to back, our office generally recommends a 40 mile per hour in that case. This is just southeast of Carlisle on that just east of the paved portion of Clark Street.
What's the current speed limit?
It's currently not posted, so 55 during the day, 50 at night.
Any other questions? Was that engineer driven or neighbor driven for the reduction, or both?
Engineer driven. But eventually neighbor driven, probably.
All right.
Accepting a motion?
Yeah.
Okay. I will make a motion to consider the speed limit change on, and approve the speed limit change on Cleveland Street between 170th Avenue and 178th Avenue.
I'll second.
Discussion from the board. A roll call vote, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
DeCook?
Aye. Motion carries. Number 9 is consider changes to Warren County utility permit application with possible action.
So I will try to be brief on this one. This is the utility permit application for the county, but we are not changing the actual language in it, we were making additions. So I'll just walk through what we've added, if that helps.
Yes.
But on the first page, to get more information, we've added a estimated start time and then a more detailed location. And we requested more detailed drawings be submitted. So basically to give our office a little more information when we're making decisions. We've added language to the notice of work to improve the timing they give us, some of the notice if they give us that they're even going to start the work. Just added some more specification language based on what their work has to conform to. And then with the specifications, added some language that we can assess additional repair work against the applicant if there are things that need completed or they leave stuff a mess, for lack of a better word. And then we added, it's minor, but that they also need to compact their trenches and not just properly tamp them, but also compact them. So there's, it's a lot of just additional kind of minor details. I want to bring it before you because it will take your approval. At this time, since we are assessing the applicant for damages, I would recommend having one more meeting with it before you, so the attorney's office has a chance to look at some of that language. But really brief, just additions, and want to get it before you. So if you have any questions on those additions in particular, I believe we sent you a copy with changes only. So that gives you a chance to question those, and then I would recommend the attorney's office review it in the meantime, and we just bring it before you for one more meeting. So with that, if there's any questions, we can take those now, or if you'd like to discuss it at a second meeting, that will give Dawn and the attorneys an opportunity just to look at that paragraph that where we may assess the applicant in the future.
I'm good with these changes. I have no questions, and I'm good with the changes.
Okay.
So you said the attorney's office did look at it or not?
Not yet. This is
Okay.
new. This is recent, but we wanted to get it before your eyes.
Okay. I'm
Because we're
supportive.
making additions, I guess,
Right.
so.
I'm supportive of this because I get the complaints when they leave it a mess, and I'm just so grateful that you're addressing this proactively. I thank you for doing this.
Yeah, I should mention, you've updated this document before. I think we're just adding a little teeth to it and kind of fine tuning it at this point. For those issues that you mentioned, if we run into an issue with a certain company out in the county, we take note of that, and we like to update it so we have a little more teeth in the future. Get people to do good housekeeping. And
Would the board like to have this for final approval on a work session? That way we can give time, or do you need time on it, Don, or no?
I can get it reviewed by the next.
Yeah, this isn't a rush
Super.
deal by any means.
Okay.
Good, thanks.
So,
Well, thanks for bringing it up, and I anticipate it'll probably move forward shortly.
I'll send it to you.
All right, thank you, David. Number 10 on our agenda is consider inter-fund operating transfer to secondary roads with possible action.
So this is the secondary roads transfer that we talked about at budget time, and we just need the resolution to authorize it. So I can actually go ahead and read through that resolution.
Okay.
Whereas it is desired to authorize the budget director of Warren County, Iowa to periodically transfer sums from the general basic fund and the rural basic fund to the secondary road fund during the 2022 to 2023 fiscal year. And whereas said operating transfers must be in accordance with section 331.429 and 331.432 Code of Iowa. Whereas said operating transfers were budgeted and appropriated for fiscal year 2023, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Supervisors of Warren County, Iowa, that Section 1, the total maximum tax transfer from the general basic fund to the secondary road fund for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022 shall not exceed the sum of $185,000, and the total maximum tax revenue transfer from the rural basic fund to the secondary road fund for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022 shall not exceed the sum of $1,750,000. Upon being notified of the apportionment of current property taxes and the state replacements against levied property taxes, the general basic and rural basic fund, the budget director shall transfer from said funds to the secondary road fund. The amount of the transfer required by Section 2 shall be equal to 2.048% of the apportionment of collected property taxes in the general basic fund and 94.915% of the tax apportionment of the rural basic fund. Transfers from the rural basic fund for revenues generated from sources other than property taxes shall not exceed $1,410,000 to be paid in monthly installments. Notwithstanding the provisions of Section 2, 3, and 4, total transfers to the secondary road fund shall not exceed $180,000 from the general fund and $3,160,000 from the rural basic fund. Notwithstanding, Yes, $185,000. Notwithstanding the provisions of Section 2, 3, and 4, the amount of any transfer shall not exceed the available fund balance in the transferring fund.
Thank you, Megan. Are there any questions for our budget director?
Nope.
I have none either.
Okay. Do you need a motion?
We do.
Okay. Per our budget director, I make a motion to approve the resolution of interfund operating transfer to secondary road fund.
Second.
Discussion from the board? Seeing none, roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Cook?
Aye. Motion carries. Number 11 is consider appointments to the following boards or commissions with possible action. A, the Allen Township Trustees, Paula Sampson and Steve Benhart. I'll make a motion to appoint Paula Sampson and Steve Benhart to the Allen County Trustees.
Second.
Discussion from the board. Just wanted to say, Paula and Steve, thank you. Appreciate your service.
Yes.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
DeCook?
Aye. Motion carries. Number 12 is discussion regarding retainage claims with possible action. Good morning.
So at your last work session, we talked about the retainage requests are coming in from the prime contractors, and kind of Darren and I were wanting to know how the board wanted to handle the process of closing those out. I think what we kind of talked about is we would review them, let the board know, and give suggestions, and then we'd present them to the board, and then you guys would then decide if it was okay to move forward. Is that
Correct.
okay? Okay. Any other questions on that or anything else that you can think of, Darren, that's come up since we talked?
Yeah. Since we talked about it, we were talking about a specific prime contractor that was requesting 3% of the 5% retainage that equated to more than $250,000 approximately that they wanted released from the retainage. And at first, that seemed unique, or it seemed something that we should really dot our I's and cross our T's on. And since we had met on this, we had learned that that particular contractor has 35 punch list items left on their list. And the value of all of those items is a pretty small figure. And so we're putting the prime contractor in a position of withholding $545,000 for less than $100,000 worth of work. And so in retrospect, that seems potentially a little unfair to withhold, you know, the over $400,000 until that work is done. It's putting them in a situation where we're putting a lot of pressure on them to figure out how to pay their contractors in the short term. So we would, my recommendation would to release a percentage of the retainage to be more equitable with the amount of work that's left to be done. And so we have many more details. And I'm hoping we can have a or a special session or some type of public or some type of meeting to go over the details, because we have a lot more details, and I think once we lay those out for the board, this will make more sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they willing to work on that? And are they scheduling to come back? Just with my experience with once they get their large retainage, I mean, yes, it's an insignificant amount of work, so why come back and finish it?
Right. So last week, the two biggest things on the list are the card readers and the doors. We're having issues with that, as well as a lot of the punch list items are touching up, painting things that didn't get painted originally. Painters were on site last week. Card reader, door people were on site last week. So they have started working on that and whittling things down. And I believe that DCI, either late last week or maybe early this week, they were going to start looking through and walking through all the punch list items and making sure that everything was done. I think on Friday, it was either Thursday or Friday, I got an email from Nick that the punch list items for the painters were done. I think there are still a couple of things out there that they need to do, but for the most part, they've been like our biggest hang up as far as labor. The parts is the door thing, and I know that they were out last week working on stuff, and a lot more doors are working this week than were working last week, but I think, like Darren said, in the grand scheme of things, if they walk away with what's left, I think we could find someone to come in and finish it. I don't think they will because of the prime that they're under, and he's local, and but that's just my opinion. So we can, and there are a couple of other people that have requested their retainage as well. So if you guys want to schedule a meeting, we can get all of the documentation, sit down with Doug and Don, look everything over, and make sure that we're ready to close them out.
Let's do it in a work session and then have a follow-up
Yep.
special session right after it. And I'd be amenable to doing some middle approach between the two,
Yeah.
where if there's really, as an example, if there's really 450 of retainage left and there's 100 left of work and they're requesting 250, I mean, maybe the number's 125 or 150 back to them early. That still leaves some retainage and some incentive to make sure you finish the job up and do it right.
I agree.
Okay.
But I'm still not inclined to give them the full thing until it's done, or even a number that's not 2x of whatever's left.
So what do you guys want to see when we
Keeps feet
bring
to the
that
fire.
to the work session? Do you want to know what they have on the punch list, what their retainage amount is, and in
Ballpark.
some cases, they're asking for the whole thing because they're done.
Yeah, if like in that we had the work session on it. If they're done, let's generate a list of those that are completely done with no punch list items, and
Yeah.
I have no problem getting those folks paid.
Me neither.
It's the right thing to do. I don't want to hold their money. They've earned it. They did the contractual obligation and fulfilled it. And so if they're free, they're free. Let's get those folks paid. And then the ones that I'm more concerned about are the ones that still have a punch list or we still have some issues with. and that's maybe trying to massage a number that is equitable to them, but yet still keeps their feet to the fire to make sure that we're getting those back, and/or giving them a sort of a drop-dead date of, sometime in October where, hey, if these things aren't done, then, we're going to use that retainage money to hire someone else to do it. So
Okay.
they would be outside of their contract at that point, so.
Yeah, in that particular case of that prime contractor, DCI Group is, we have a detailed cost, so we'll bring that in.
If you have those, share that too. That'll
Yeah.
assist in at least my
Okay.
ability to come up with a number that's somewhat fair, but I'm not inclined to say, okay, the retainage is, just example, retainage is 450. There's 150,000 of work left to do. I'm not inclined to say we'll just, give them 300.
Yeah.
I'd say, maybe 200 or something, and that way they have some pressure to make sure that they're getting those jobs done.
Yep.
Otherwise, we're the one who's waiting on it, and I don't want to keep waiting on it. I want those punch list items done.
And DCI does have a formula that they use. It's like the cost of whatever needs to be done, and then an additional percentage that they would withhold. So if the cost was 150, they say we're withholding like 225, whatever that formula is. So
Yeah,
I'll get that.
It's actually 2 times. So if there's
Two times.
$100,000 worth of work, they recommend we withhold 200,000, and that's workable in
Yeah.
pretty much every case. So we're protected, and there's pressure for the work to get done.
Good.
I think once we show you the numbers, I think this will all work out.
Okay.
If you'd like, if you're ready and you want to schedule that on Thursday or Friday morning, I don't know. Is Michaela in today? Okay. Maybe Michaela or Megan or work with the board schedule and find a time that works. I would do it as early as late this week or early next week, whenever you're ready to go.
I think we should do it this week if possible.
Okay.
Thursday or Friday AM would be preferable.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, number 13 is discussion regarding facilities maintenance and cleaning with possible action. I'm not sure who's presenting this one.
Tracy?
While Don's hopefully finding my resolution, I didn't have one in my packet. I think as you all may or may not know, that by code, maintenance or the facility is to be under the auditor's office. And so I feel like it's time it came back. I think we need it, so I visited with Dawn. We put together a resolution here. Be it resolved that pursuant to Iowa Code Section 331.5021, the Warren County Maintenance Department shall be placed under the Warren County Auditor's Office. The Warren County Auditor will assume supervisory control over the maintenance department and its budget. Be it further resolved that the cleaning budget shall be transferred to the Warren County Auditor's budget. Be it resolved that a standing facility study committee is created or will be created. This committee will examine the facilities presently owned or leased by Warren County and make detailed recommendations to the Board of Supervisors regarding the future facility needs of the county. The committee will make recommendations to the Board of Supervisors regarding the spending of the capital projects budget. The committee would consist of the following on the committee: Board of Supervisors representative, the auditor, county attorney, and Jamie Maraski. So I just think that we need to get back to things, keep on top of things, and that's where we're at right now. So I'd like to bring it back to my office.
Who is on that committee again?
The Board of Supervisor representative, myself or my representative, county attorney, and Jamie. And that would be to the Facility Study Committee.
So county attorney basically would rule that committee because they have 2 votes on there, it seems like.
Not necessarily, no. It's under the auditor, so
But there would be Board of Supervisors, auditor, county attorney, and Jamie, which Jamie works for the county attorney. So that's 2 votes as opposed to the 4 members.
these, I don't know if you'd call it votes, it's just a committee put together, so if something needs taken care of or done with either of these buildings, because I just want to keep on top of things.
Yeah.
Because we know what happened to the courthouse the last time when we had nobody taking care of it, more or less, so, and I've seen little things around here that we sometimes need help with, so it's a committee to kind of keep an eye on things and discuss when we need to, if I need help with something, so.
My interpretation would be that it's a study committee that will still come to the board for decisions
Okay.
on major items that need to be brought.
That's my understanding as well. It's part of a process. So like, for example, last week, Public Health sent out an email saying, hey, our department is expanding, we're gonna need some more physical space. And this allows a platform where Public Health can come into the Facilities Study Committee and look at the options for that. But ultimately, that committee comes to the Board of Supervisors with the options and lay out the options. This is what it costs, this is option A, this is option B, this is option C. It just promotes communication and collaboration around our facilities. And
I love that.
And so it's a mechanism to spark ideas and bring, but ultimately, that committee, and I would probably think that it would be Jamie or Tracy would come in and present these things to the board, and the board withholds the authority to approve what happens. Like, nothing's gonna happen without the Board of Supervisors signing off on it. I don't even, this committee won't vote. It's just a collaborative support mechanism to help us figure out, to put more focus on the facilities.
Great.
And like, we've got an auditorium issue right now, and it's like, what are we gonna do with our auditorium? And, well, there's a lot of ideas. This just allows us the opportunity to really focus on them and make the best decisions for Warren County going forward.
I like that.
That's what we're trying to do.
And it would put the facilities and maintenance, inclusive of the cleaning contract, under the auditor's office, which is statutorily correct, and 95+ counties out of the 100 operated that way for budget reasons and code reasons. I mean, that's just
Yeah,
where it is.
I like that.
Warren's been a little different in the past.
But you're also asking for the capital projects budget as well?
Yes.
Okay, why is that?
Well, I think the resolution reads, and
I don't, in fairness, I don't have one. I mean, I'm aware of it, but I don't have one in my packet. I don't know if Kristen.
Yeah, I don't have one either. I'm not aware of this. I didn't even know what was coming. So I really want to sit on this before we make any decisions, because I haven't even been able to read the resolution myself. So,
I'll get it to you.
Could we get a copy? Could someone make a copy? We can come back to this too. That way the board can spend some time with it, because I know of it, I just don't have one in my packet. And that way you
Yeah,
can
it didn't
at least
get put in the
look at it.
packet, so sorry about that.
it's all right.
So why don't we table 13? We'll bounce it for a little bit later today, but we'll come back to 13. But that way everyone can actually look at the proposed resolution. All right, discussion regarding jail staff bonus with possible action. Sheriff.
So this item here, we've discussed our jail staff wages. When we did our last collective bargaining agreement, we didn't have a jail that was open, and wages for the jail staff didn't seem to stay on par with other agencies in surrounding counties. And now the fact that we've opened our jail, comparing our wages to our jail staff to surrounding counties excluding Polk, which obviously is not a direct comparable to us, we are considerably behind in our jail staff wages. What I'm asking the board to do is to consider the way I've termed it is a bonus, if you will, for the jail staff. This would come out of our room and board fund, which is not a direct connection to the general, so it wouldn't have any budgetary impacts on that. Negotiations have started for our new contract that is coming up. Because this would not raise the existing wage, any percentage that was negotiated in this contract, this would not have a bearing on. The fund that it's coming out of itself is a very limited fund on what it can be spent on. This does qualify for that. I've got a copy that I just got back this morning of a memorandum of understanding that the union has approved, if the board would approve it. I can give that copy to that. Like that here.
I can pass it down if you want. Thank you, Joe.
Just to give you some references here, currently, if you start at the Warren County Jail, your starting wage is $18.24 an hour. You compare us to Jasper, Dallas, Madison, and Marion. They all start $20 an hour or just north of. They top out, excluding Marion, but Jasper, Dallas, and Madison County top out in the $26 to almost $30 range. Our jail staff, as I said, starts at $18.24 and they top out at $21.23. Most jails or their staff, they start almost more than we top out at. Given the fact that a lot of jails in surrounding counties, Madison, Dallas, Jasper, and even Marion, and like I said, even Polk, but that's a stretch there to be comparable to them. They're all hiring jail staff, and if we aren't competitive in our wages, anybody that drives here to our jail can still drive to any of those jails. Mileage to commute back and forth to work is about the same when you're talking counties that touch our county. So I'd ask the board to consider that memorandum until these current collective bargaining agreement can be reached, or a new one.
So you're saying that we're losing jailers to other jails? Is the process that we train them and then they go to other jails, or what's happening?
What we have had so far is there is talk where they have been offered the same position at other counties. That obviously they start at more money than what they're making here. That's come to my attention in an effort to retain the jail staff we have. I'm hoping to get them a little more competitive with the wages that they're being offered until the new collective bargaining agreement takes place. You know, in 19 when, excuse me, in 18 or 19 when our new contract went into effect, obviously, as you guys know, July of 19, we didn't have a jail then, and I wasn't a part of those negotiations. I don't know what the wage for the jail staff was, but in comparing today's jail staff wage in our county versus the other counties our size, and I mean, really, Dallas and Jasper, they have comparative jails. Madison County is a jail that's nowhere near our size. Marion County is I believe, a 40 or 45 person jail. They couldn't even house our entire population if we had a jail that size. So we're asking our staff to work a bigger jail than two of the counties that we're comparing to, but do it for less money.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're saying that you weren't part of the jailer's salary?
Not when the contract was negotiated.
The current contract
Correct.
Negotiated?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
It's a union contract. It's up. The board did approve earlier this year, maybe a month ago, to engage in starting the negotiation process a little sooner. And
Right.
part of that was for this reason. It's just the environment's changed a little bit. It's we can't and we won't be able to compete with Polk on wages. You know, I think the sheriff's wise enough to know that if someone's truly fixated on, I need the absolute highest wage possible, then working in Madison County or Warren County or Marion County to be a jailer is not where you want to end up. You want to go to Polk, but it's a different beast there too.
Right.
It's you're going to have some more issues with the inmates, you know, but they're going to pay more.
Yep.
That said, you know, in this environment, it is difficult to offer at 18. What was it? 1850, 1824 is the start, and topping out at 21 when our competitive counties near us are at, you know, starting at 20 or 21. So I understand. I did want to do one quick clarification. I know the answer to this, but I think it would be helpful for the board too. Assuming that this board approves what is effectively an inflation bonus for the tail end of the year, does that impact in any way, shape, or form? Does that tie our hands if we were to say, okay, we're going to do a 3% or a 4% salary increase from the last contract? And I'm not saying that. I'm not negotiating today.
Right.
But are we then using this new number, or does this new number impact that figure at all?
So my understanding is no, it doesn't, and that's why it's termed as a bonus out of the fund it's coming out of. That way, yeah, when they sit down, they can't say, okay, well, this is, you know, we're making X amount, but we've also got this, so now it's our new percentage. That's where this is something to kind of just get us competitive with the starting wage of the surrounding county. So short answer, no.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's coming out of your room and board fund, sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And I guess for a clarifying point on that, it's my understanding, and I could be wrong on this, because that room, it is the allowable expense for the room and board, but it's something, because it was not put in at the beginning of the budget, would require a budget amendment from the board, so.
Yep, thank you. I'm looking at about 62,000.
Roughly, yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions for our sheriff?
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Do we have a motion on the proposal?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between Teamsters Local 238 and Warren County for the bonus.
Second?
Is there any discussion from the board? We just point out to the Teamsters that that's not something that's certainly required from the contract, but that is something that I think shows and demonstrates that the board is, you know, aware of the circumstances, and we're trying to make a good faith effort to negotiate fairly with them. We have a motion. We have a second. Roll call vote, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Cook?
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Sheriff. Okay, we'll skip back to number 13. The resolution is about a half page, and we'll give everyone some time to read it, and I'm going to step out just for a quick second and grab a drink. Take a quick pause. And is our auditor willing to take a few more questions too? Is that okay, Tracy? The resolution looks pretty short. I didn't see anything in it regarding the capital budget.
Yeah, it's in the,
Where are we at?
next to the last sentence of the last
Oh,
paragraph.
there it is.
Yep.
Okay. Can you make recommendations to the spending of the capital projects budget? Doesn't exactly move the budget over there, though.
True.
This resolution doesn't move the capital projects budget.
That's my point. I think I maybe heard that. I just
Yeah.
didn't see it in the
It's
resolution.
Yeah,
just making recommendations for
I understand.
something that would involve the capital budgets for
Okay.
the project.
I don't have any more questions for you, but maybe the board does. I don't know.
I have no questions.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion to approve the proposed resolution regarding facilities maintenance and cleaning.
Second?
I do have a question.
Okay.
Okay, so with the maintenance department moving under you, who is going, the maintenance department now reports to you? Because they would be under you, correct?
Yes.
So, okay, so you were their boss as well as the cleaning budget. And the committee does not have any authority over cleaning or maintenance department?
No.
Okay,
So many of the staff come to me already with, and tell me, you know, hey, something in the restroom or something in the hall or whatever, so, and I don't know if, I mean, just being by code that it's in the auditor's office, then, and you guys change, I mean, you haven't for a while, so that's good, but, you know, the supervisors change every so often, and, so I just feel it's a good thing to be where somebody's gonna be here for a while maybe, so
well, I appreciate you taking this back. I really do. Thank
happy
you.
to do it.
Yeah,
Thank
okay,
you.
thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. All right, we have a motion. We have a second. Roll call vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Next up is number 15, receive and file reports. We have one from Veterans Affairs, and I will make a motion to receive and file it.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Number 16, Supervisors Report. Would anyone like to lead?
I'll go. I've been involved with the Justice Center in multiple meetings, and we're getting to the final stages with probably 2 to 3 months left to go before we finalize. A lot going on, a lot of final details, and Warren County is ultimately doing a good job of keeping our board. I think our board is doing a good job of getting things finalized and trying to close this thing out, and I appreciate the board's experience and wisdom and support as we're trying to do this. We're just on the final touches, can't wait till the end. There's light at the end of the tunnel. I've also been involved in a couple meetings with trying to get our website launched, and we're on the cusp of ready to go. I want to thank Michaela for kind of spearheading this process, and our department heads for coming forward and responding to emails and getting their web pages detailed the way that they want to. I think the public will find that the new website will be intuitive and easy to work with. We're trying to make it highly functional, so there can be a lot of business and transactions done electronically. It's a whole new look, and I think the public and the county will be pleased with where that's going. I've also sat in on some of the facilities kind of restructure and trying to figure out what's in the best interest of Warren County, and so that's about it for my report for today.
Thanks, Darren.
All right, thank you. Okay, thank you. Attended an Understanding Trauma webinar. Went to, but did not go in. I know that Mark Snell, who is running for, is it District 1 Supervisor, was in attendance at the Greenfield Plaza Community Association. We're very interested in what happens in that community, as well as all of Warren County should be. 2 Board of Supervisor work sessions and a couple of special meetings. Supervisors Continuing Education Committee meeting, Impact Physical Discussion Committee, ISAC Conference in Des Moines. I was up there for 3 days. I will discuss with the board at our next work session some of the pressing subjects that will be addressed at, that were addressed at ISAC. One that I do want to bring up right now is the Iowa Utility Board. It's IUB for short. There are 3 appointed bureaucrats that sit on that board. And private companies building pipelines through counties and ultimately Iowa. This board, IUB, is taking the power of home rule away from local jurisdictions, mainly the Board of Supervisors and property owners. The IUB is calling a pipeline a utility that only benefits those companies' profit line, and they're requiring eminent domain on these properties to build this pipeline. Just want you to be aware that that's something that's going on, and ISAC will probably be contacting us with support with legislation coming down the pike, so, among other things, so, thank you.
Thank you, Crystal. Real short, I just want to share a win for the county. Labor Day was nice. I like to be positive, and we have positive news that I received last week from our zoning department. And our zoning department went out for an RFP. During our ARPA discussions, I think the public will recall that we really started with the priority of county needs. And that did, in my estimation, I think the board would agree, that took up the lion's share of those federal ARPA funds. And that's the right spot to start with those sorts of decisions, is what does our county need? How can we be more efficient? And one of the things that the board approved, and I believe unanimously, was a land use policy study committee, and then a rewrite of that and some ordinance work. And so I think that the board allocated, if memory serves, maybe $300,000 to do so. You know, took a little time to get the RFP out and to get some folks to respond to it, but looks like the low bid was $95,000, and so that's a big deal. And that's you know, 200 to the good. Sort of raises that hits my radar screen if it was 1,000 to the good, or, you know, and I was pleased with our engineers, you know, probably 50 to the good on his satellite shop too. Those things add up, but
Oh, yeah.
as those county priorities get funded and dollars get allocated to them, you know, there's, you know, right there is about $250,000 that we've allocated, but now it doesn't appear as though we're going to be actually spending those. So that's a good thing. That leaves some real options and flexibility for future board to make decisions which they deem as prudent. But that's a good thing. So I wanted to give kudos to Lindsay in the zoning department for, you know, I guess putting that out there and then sharing back with the board that, you know, a win's a win. So I was really happy with that. Lastly, because it is football season and fall is my favorite time, I'm a big Iowa Hawkeye fan. I love the Iowa Hawkeyes. I like the other teams too. I like UNI and Iowa State and Drake. I root for them all when they're not playing the Hawks. This is a special week for me because it's Iowa State, and had my beloved Hawkeyes not been so terrible on offense, I would be very vocal about a game prediction. Now I'm going to be a little more quiet because it looks like Iowa State's pretty good and our offense sort of struggled. So good luck to both teams. Support your local teams. I don't know that much about Carlisle. I did see that they played maybe the #1 ranked team, and I think they maybe got edged out by a touchdown. But that's a big deal. I mean, Carlisle's going to look legit. Norwalk's just boat racing people, and Indianola looks pretty good too. So that district is going to be Warren County wild, which I expect nothing less. But that'll be a good game. So if you've got some sort of a charity type wager, because I'm not here to gamble, but if you have some sort of a charity type wager between maybe Indianola and Norwalk or Carlisle and Norwalk, please reach out. We can find something good to do, and I'll make it worth your while. So with that, hopefully y'all had a good Labor Day, and that's all I got. Next up, public input. Comments are going to be limited to 3 minutes. The board will not take any action on the comments today due to the requirements of the open meetings law, but may do so in the future. No public input will be allowed for any of today's agenda items. Is there anyone either online or in the room that has public input to share? Come on up, Don. And if you just state your name and your address, that'd be great.
Don Davis, 14763 Harrison Street, and I'm kind of a sad public comment to make today that my sister Diane Curran, who owns the properties at 14715 Harrison and 14763, has passed away. And our family was put through a living hell by the Iowa DCI. They said the cell phone was pinging on our property when we found that Diane was missing. She left our house on the 19th of August, headed back to her home. She's living in New Jersey now. She was living in New Jersey working for Lockheed Martin. She's an astrophysicist, as some of the supervisors are well aware of. And apparently what happened is she got a mile from our house we were at 150th and Harrison Street. She was going north on 150th, turned around and was heading back towards our house, had a massive stroke or heart attack or something, and went into the field next door to our house, and her truck ended up in the trees 50 feet from our property line. And when I called, when we were concerned of her missing and we hadn't heard from her on Sunday, we called the Warren County Sheriff, and the neighbor in New Jersey called their local PD. DCI became involved, and when they finally pinged her cell phone, it was dead. So the last ping showed this track. So the agent basically said, what did you do with her? They questioned my wife for 45 minutes on the phone, had me on the phone because I was in New Jersey taking care of the animals. And then when I finally said, I don't have the answer for you, the next morning they showed up with the same type of warrant they would give for a sex offender. Held my wife for 10 hours, had drones out, had the sheriff's department, the Indianola police, and they said an FBI agent. Because I must have hidden the cell phone. My shop is destroyed. All the outbuildings were gone through. Somebody left a water spigot on in the middle of one of our fields. And on top of dealing with the grief of my sister, who I'm picking up her ashes today, I'm having to now try to have to litigate something because this was very hurtful. And Warren County law enforcement can do better. I know the sheriff's department can. I know they're amazing. The Indianola Fire Department's who found her. They saw the tracks in the field that were, so, it was the DCI and the Special Agent Metzger, who is stationed here, that caused us this grief. But, I know Diane was passionate about Warren County when she lived here. We were both on the jail courthouse committee and did a lot of things together. So thank you for indulging me. I just wanted to make you aware of this, and thank you.
Thank you.
John. We're sorry for your loss, Don. Is there anyone else? Seeing none, is there anyone online? Okay. Our next meeting date is going to be September 20th, 2022. That's 6 p.m. Just for point of reference, that evening meeting is really not for the convenience of this board or our staff. It is for your ability and convenience if you're unable to make a morning meeting to be able to come to the evening meeting and make public input, ask questions, be involved if that fits your schedule better. With that, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please.
McIntyre?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Cook?
Aye, we are adjourned. Have a good day.
Thank you.